Well, alrighty then. Son of a gun. Here we are back again. Chapter 12. Holy cow. Truckin' with Grandpa. So we've been trucking through a little bit of the essential history of the Earth. And if you haven't been following along, I'm sorry. But it's alright. Maybe you'll catch on. So we were talking about the origins of money, primarily. But leading through it, the dispensations of humanity to get us there, you know. So the third dispensation, Atlantean period, when the great continent of Atlantis basically ruled over the earth, or a good share of it. You know, like I said, after all those tribes had gone out and started over in their different areas of the earth, there were conflicts. But the main conflict was caused by the invader, of course, that lived inside of each and every human being, you know, and taming that thing down was a part of the process. But in this dispensation, it just wouldn't be tamed. It got worse and worse, and as we say, stretched our love to its thinnest points, you know, almost as thin as it has been stretched right now here in 2012. So, one thing led to another in that third dispensation. The energy of bloodthirstiness, the emptiness, the loneliness, the callousness began to become a huge factor. You know, people started to lose the ability to feel, and because of that could do some pretty heinous things. And well, the big button was pushed then, and there was nothing there to stop it. The beings that, because we did have communication with the star beings at the time, and those that had promised to help reneged on that promise when the actual firing began and stepped out of the way. And the only thing they stopped was anything that was lobbed their way. Everything else they just let go on. And they thought they were doing the best for humanity, and maybe they were. But they're not exactly our caretakers. So on some level, we made this choice as humanity in that Atlantean period to let it all go down once again. And out of the ashes and rubble of that, there was only one distinct remnant left. It had elements of most of what humanity had lived before. In other words, it had all the tribes mixed in with it. Somehow they'd managed to escape the Armageddon. See how long ago that happened? Somehow they'd managed to escape that. And after a while, through some pretty rough times, there was established a little base, a little colony. This place that later became called Babylon. Sumeria. There were other little pockets of life, because those that needed to roamed off, and as the earth became cleansed and ready for them, roamed off. We did get some help with the cleanup, or we wouldn't be here, that's for certain. But these others roamed off and, you know, began their own little tribal things, but the main bulk of it was over there, in that little place called Babylon. Can't remember what it was called before it became Babylon. I was just trying to think of that, but it doesn't come to me. There was also a colony, a civilization, because by then now there's Atlantis is gone, sank into the sea. That's true. And the continents that were greatly changed. That essentially became what we see now of Earth, and the continents, you know, that's essentially, because this is the fourth dispensation, post-Atlantean period, the Dark Ages. And that's exactly what they are. Maximum darkness. See how bad it can get. You already did it once. Will you do it again? Or will you come back from this one alive? So there was, because the invaders were lusting for gold, among other things, there was a plan hatched to take this remnant and make them slaves forever and use them for whatever you wanted. You know, they would just be human cattle. And they've essentially been treating us like that ever since. The money system was devised out of this invaders' need for the shiny stuff. They like gold for whatever the reason. And so they implanted that thought into human hearts and minds and souls, and it became a religion of sorts. You know, we hadn't known any such thing before the fourth dispensation. Religions were unheard of. Didn't need them. And now we had them because they were like, we felt soulless. I mean, that the impact of the war, of the ending of the third dispensation, was so immense that those that remained had pretty much lost the ability to feel. That's darkness. And that's dangerous, because that meant you could be made into a robotroid. As a person, as a colony, as a society, as a people, as a planet. That's how this slavery came into being. And that's all money is. The regulation of slaves. The implement of slavery. You know, sometimes they will crack a whip over your head, but for the most part, they don't need to. You know, it just is because we'll see. Because we want the money. We want the house. We want the car. We want the furniture. I want 3.2 kids and you know, swimming pool in the backyard. Shit like that. I mean, it's gone a long ways from its humble beginnings back there. But if you think for a minute, it isn't still Babylonian owned and controlled. May not be in that city, because maybe they've reestablished this Babylon, this Babylonian thing somewhere else, and maybe the slave masters live there, and maybe they don't want you to know about it. But if you follow the threads, you look around, it doesn't take much to see it. Hell, first time I went to Dallas, I said to myself, Babylon. Look at those buildings. Babylon, man, you know, out there in the plains. Babylon. And of course that's the place where they killed John Kennedy. Now what does that tell you about Dallas? I'm not saying it's Babylon. I'm saying it's Babylon. I'm saying America's Babylon. We've been taken over, babies. We were used, man, to take this Turtle Island and turn it into a slave camp for the masters. Not that those who roamed around it here before, you know, had it much easier or any better. I mean, they still had the invaders in them too, but they'd learned to regulate it. They'd tribalized it out, spread it wide and far, so it got little skirmishes, but it didn't get its big hits anymore, you know. They'd learned to manage and regulate it a hell of a lot better than the guys on the other side of the planet. Some bitch. But that was what the American invasion was all about, you know. Turning this into a little slave colony. They wanted to exploit not just the minerals, but the masses. You know, they saw huge potential here for feeding on all kinds of human souls and energies and getting all kinds of corruptions going on, and that's exactly what they've done. And again, stretched our love to its, and these big old world wars we had, oh God, does that ever bring back memories? The tragic shock and shit, it goes on, bam, and it starts closing you down. It has a shock effect on humanity itself and on individual persons as well. So it's amazing that we've come to where we are, considering where we've been. For slaves, we're doing pretty damn good. So I guess the general gist of the story is, yeah, recognize this slavery for what it is. And it don't matter if you believe it's Babylon or you think it's Salt Lake City. It probably is. It don't matter. But if you just see it, you can be free of it. We can recreate this world. And this time, those who turned against us in the past are in at full tilt. And they're going to help us out if we let them. And that's kind of up to the consciousness in your own heart. Do you want to do this the human way, or do you want to do it dignified? Well, we already chose the dignified way, but with a human touch. So it's already in process, babies. The yokes of slavery are coming off of us now. You won't be long before you'll see a huge political breakdown. Well, religions too, I'm sorry, but we'll inhabit them in a different way, in a different form, but they're done, they're through. They can't survive truth. And they have to admit what they've been up to, but it doesn't really matter, because when this is all happening, we're in such a happy place, we could care less. It's not about the past. The past is only leading to the present. It's been our experience. And it's been beautiful, and it's been powerful. But it's bringing us right back where we started from, so that we can do this again and get it right this time and have a ball doing it. And babies, it beats hell out of coming back and going through the shithole again and again now, don't it? About darn time, I'd say. So hang on to your green jeans, kid. There'll be more to go. There'll be a lot more to go. Because this is only the beginning. Which is stepping into the 5th dispensation of humanity. And every area of your life in the next few days and weeks will be touched and changed. From the most basic, going to the toilet kind of things, to the most ethereal, experiencing yourself in the presence of another human being. All of this is going back to ways that are far more natural to us. From those early Babylonian times, people have been contained and controlled in one huge illusion. We have been so misled, especially in the areas of our personal relationships, interpersonal relationships, the male and female thing, or however it forms in your life. We have been seriously messed with, and sold a bill of goods that's kept us throughout all these thousands of years isolated into little family units that were controllable and containable. Economic desperation has existed for all those thousands of years since Babylon, which, by the way, is not the city of the legends. That's a different story altogether. It's a corruption of the truth, and it's a heinous tale that never should have been told. It's crap. But you know, you pick and choose. You see what rings true with you. It doesn't really matter. It's like I say, what matters is what's happening right now. These are the stages we've been through that led to it, that brought us forward, to give us the bravery to return to our heart. The desperation, really. How bad can it get? Well, we'll show you. Been there, done that, people. Many times over. Time to return home to the heart. And I know you feel it. And I know I feel it. And that's what this here truckin's all about. Bringing home the goods. Returning Mama and Papa to their heart. In the person of you. And me too. Love you, kiddos. And hope to see you again real soon. Take care now, will you? Truckin' beyond the moon. Hell yeah! Oh, babies, I love you.